Street should be more popular than Madden, in your opinion? I think it would have been very difficult for them to keep going with the Streets franchise, but I think that's the problem. I think that there has to be videos on why EA Big is not a thing, because EA Big, I feel like they were, as in not an oxymoron, but they were relevant to their name, EA Big, because NBA Street 1, Street 2, Street 3, NFL Street 1, Street 2, those all were amazing and like are considered classic games. And a lot of people that like football and basketball, they love this franchise. Older people and younger people. I asked the younger dude about this game and like he knew about it. And I was like, "What?" He's like 18. I'm like, "Bro, this game came out when you were like what?" This game came out in 2002. So 2 all the way to 21 is like almost 20. This game came out a year before he was born. Is that what we talking about? This game came out a year before he was born and he knows about this. Like, they didn't score, did they? No, they didn't. Option? Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Cut it out. Rumored that they're coming back? I don't know about all that. They should have kept making street games, then you would play. I mean, yeah, I would have too, but I feel like it would have been difficult to keep the... I don't know. I would have wanted them to, but I feel like it would have been difficult to keep improving the game. I don't think they should have did yearly like Madden. Madden is fine because that's obviously it's the real standard of the game, which is cool, whatever. But I think this game in NBA Street, I think for sports games in particular, sports games and fighting games. Um, were maybe not so much fighting games. For my preference, I should say. The prefatory of this is my preference is that sports games they need how can I put this? They need some realism, of course. You need to have the rule sets in the game. You need to have the score, the same scores in the game. If you change the scores, as long as it's not ridiculous, it's fine. Like this game, the safety or not safety, the if you catch the ball and run to the other side of the field, I think it's worth a point or 2 points if you do it in a real game. But in this, it's worth 4 points, as it just happened to me earlier. But I think you need a right amount of goofiness, like ridiculousness in the game, and the right amount of realness. Not 50-50, more like probably like 60-40. Like cuz you want it to feel realistic, but you want the goofy elements too. That's why I make this comparison with Forza. Now, Forza Motorsport is, I believe, the greatest or the best racing game out right now. And I know they're coming out with a new one. Shout out to Forza. But I am not necessarily a huge fan of Forza, and it's because I grew up playing Need for Speed and Test Drive. And Gran Turismo, and I grew up playing Gran Turismo and Test Drive are a little more realistic. But Need for Speed was one of my favorite games. Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2 and Most Wanted were my favorites. Now, the issue with that is that Need for Speed has some unrealistic elements, but the game still has a lot of realistic elements. Now, Forza for me, has too many realistic elements. It's too many. Like if you turn and you hit the back or you hit your passenger rear tire on a curve, maybe on the wall or something, like say you overturned a little bit or something or brake too hard and you hit that, you'll accrue damage on that. You'll accrue damage, and so now it is difficult for you to turn right because your rear passenger tire passenger tire got damaged from tapping the wall or whatever. Like the realism, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have to appreciate it because it's the most popular and I believe highest selling racing game. But for me, I'm like, bro, this is too realistic. I'm like, good, bro. Really, I'm realistic as soon as I step outside. I don't need this to reflect all of that. I want to be able to drift and do silly stuff. I want to be able to hit. I want to be able to hit stuff and go through it. Like you hit light poles. If you hit a light pole out here, you're dead, or your car is. Like, but on Need for Speed or a lot of other racing games or games where you're in cars, you can run over light poles. Why is that? Because they know that would be an annoying thing. Like, people know that would be an annoying occurrence that would happen if you were in any game. And what is it? Street lights are everywhere. They're like in a gang of places. At least in America they are. So, or at least in Indiana. I can't speak for everywhere in America, but yeah, like, I think you need the proper amount of realness and goofiness to, I guess, fact and fiction. You need the right amount of that to create a really good game. And the Street franchises specifically mastered it. They absolutely mastered it. NBA Street 1, NBA Street 2, NFL Street 1, Street 2 in particular, those four, I love those four. Three for both of them are okay, but I like 1 and 2 better than 3 on both sides, on NFL and NBA. And I hear the FIFA game is fire. I don't like soccer like that, so I don't know too much about it. I know a gang of people love soccer, and a gang of people like the FIFA game. I think the FIFA Street game was also good as well. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. I think you need probably about 60% realness and 40% fiction, goofiness, to the game for it to really like hit you and like, oh, this is fun, but it's also I'm playing one of my favorite sports, that type of stuff. Let's see. What you talking about? Not having a standard can make things interesting. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Realism isn't fun on its own. It's the stuff you can do with the realism to make the game fun. I agree with that. I concur, sir. I concur.